Brodes Media.
Oh, yo, Saquon's pretty damn good, huh? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. We're talking 300. We're talking 300 plus. I had to hear all week about what Puka can do. All right, Cooper Kupp. You do not understand. You are not processing it. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, the whole, oh no, stop. BG's back to his prime. We'll get the update. Jalen Carter double teamed almost every single snap. It's different. When I have to hear that Sean McVay, during one of his meetings with the broadcast crew, says something along the lines of, we wanted to see a test and see how we would match up against that type of unit. Ding, 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 ding. That already alarms me. Their head coach. He knew. Okay, he knew. And when he knows, the team knows, they understood. Look, the only reason the Rams even got points is because of phantom calls from the referees who blow. They deserve jail time for life for some of those horrendous flags. The 3rd and long with Isaiah Rodgers, they picked on him. He's the only way he could generate any sort of life was picking on him. But that 3rd and long that he defended very well, which handed LA 7 points. And same with that Darius Slay flag, handed them points. This thing was an absolute ass kicking. It wasn't even a little bit close. This thing was so heavily dominated and one-sided. They just ran off 7 straight wins. And that second half of Cincinnati, you can go back and listen. I felt the turn. For the first time, there was something that reminded me of a team that we know is special. We've seen it in 22 and 17. You know when it hits you. It hit me. And Saquon has somehow even elevated it farther along, which is almost impossible to even fathom. Giants fans got to be sick. There's something different about watching him do it here. And if you're a Giants fan, you can tell yourself all you want that, it would have been better anywhere. The Giants are that much of a bad franchise, and you shouldn't have signed him if you were where the Giants were, and blah, 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 blah. You knew he would do better, right? Following this O-line. This isn't just sticking it to you. He just had 300 yards. 300. He's not just performing well here. I got to listen to them explain when they spoke to him off the air about how he hasn't had fun like this playing the game in years. The Giants' ears have to be bleeding, and then their eyeballs too, for watching Tommy Cutlets earlier this afternoon. But let's focus on what really matters here. And the birds are so legit, it hurts. I texted my buddy who's a diehard Lions fan. I just put up the wide eye emoji. I said, dude, we're coming. We're coming. They put together back-to-back 70-yard drives. One with Saquon taking it to the house right off the rip in the second half. Look, I don't know what happened before half and them trying to get the clock down to 0 and giving the Lions, or not the Lions. Every time I see Stafford, I just think Lions. The Rams the ball for a final shot. Why didn't you call a timeout after Nakobe Dean's ridiculous sack? Think about this defensive front. Think about the way this D-line is moving right now. It's nuts to even think that there was a time a little bit ago where our D-front couldn't even sniff a quarterback hurry. Now that everything's grooving, you kidding me? Milton Williams, Nakobe Dean, Jalen getting held, by the way, with all of his double teams too. He's getting held majorly. I love this team. I love this team. They got carved up defensively for the first 2 drives, right? And that one drive resulted in an Isaiah Rodgers forced fumble of all people. But what a big moment. What a big spot when Darius Slay needed some rest at that particular time. He's up and down, up and down, up and down. But think about the way, and that concussion, by the way, that looked pretty rough in slow motion. So I hope he's doing okay. But Isaiah Rodgers, the defense, they started to get tagged a little bit in the first 2 drives. You got to relax. I was getting bothered with people freaking out on social. Not that I'm unaware on how it works in the moment. But you got to realize who this team is by now. It almost looks to me like what they try and do is they go into the game, not that they're unprepared. But part of their preparation is see and react. This is what they're doing. Now it's time to counter. And not only that, the wear and tear. And I sound like a broken record, but this is truly who they are. And they show it every week. And it's what we break down every week because they, to their credit, stick to their identity. They stick to their plan. And their plan plays out over 4 quarters. Ground and pound. Wear you down. O-line annihilates you. It is so draining. Did you see Landon Dickerson's block? Did you see him getting to the second level? You don't stand a chance. You just don't. Physically, way more intense than you will ever be, and that is draining. Oh, Verse, Defensive Player of the Year. Screw you with that Mailata replay, by the way. Forget you. That man, it doesn't work when Mailata is there. It doesn't work when Lane Johnson is there. It doesn't work. Defensive Player of the Year, Hall of Fame Lane Johnson. I'm just saying what was being discussed prior to the game. All this cuteness. I was listening to Dan Orlovsky, and he's breaking down all the movement. You can do all the movement in the world. Quinyon Mitchell, he stops Mike Evans. Mike Evans. He's one of the most consistent, dominant receivers in the history. All due respect to Sean McVay and to Cooper Kupp and to anybody else. If you can stop Jamar Chase and Quinyon can stop anyone like Terry McLaurin, he can't even get looks his way. Terry couldn't even get targets. When that's the case, you're talking about a unique experience. It's why you can't relate anybody to Patrick Mahomes. You live on a different island. You live on a different planet. You're the outlier. Quinyon Mitchell is the outlier. We are about to get a run of the best corner in the league and the face of cornerbacks. We're about to have that. We're about to go on that run. And I put so much emphasis on it that, I was deeming this morning on my radio show, that's why they're going to win, is him. And it ended up being a collective group of ass whooping. Everybody played their part. Nick got a little weird with the accepting and then declining the penalty. It worked out in their favor. Get to the quarterback, miss a field goal. But it was a little weird. It always seems like the operations is a little wonky. Now, some of that's on the refs. You want to talk about the refs sucking? You want to talk about the refs being horrendous? How do you not see that fumble happened? The fact that Nick Sirianni even had to challenge is a joke. Put it into your hands and you never know. You're out to lunch half the time. How did you not see that originally, that the ball popped loose? I don't know. But I do know this team is 9-2. This team did it without Devontae. It's a big loss. No Devontae Smith. It's a major loss for a team that is a little uncomfortable in the passing game. But Jalen to AJ, I thought Jalen had some strong drives, strong decision-making. Third down, he escapes and he runs and he picks up the first down. There was that one red zone sequence where there were a bunch of penalties. What was it? Ineligible receiver downfield, which happened to be Landon Dickerson on the RPO. He was trying to get to the second level. Then there was, a Dallas Goedert wasn't lined up properly. And then there was one other play that was a little weird and ugly too, and they had to settle for a field goal. But to Nick's credit, taking the points, not playing any games early, not getting cute, getting it down to the red zone, 3-4 yards away from maybe punching in 6. Let's not gamble. Let's kick the points. Let's play the long game. You play the long game, you got to study the 4 quarters with this group. And that's why you can't just scream at the top of your lungs. So that's coming from me, okay? You don't scream at the top of your lungs when it's the first and second drive. They read and react. They read and react. So they're prepared for the response to what the other team's showing them. That's almost their game plan. But if I'm being greedy, I would like for you to be able to figure out some better first drives. And, they were moving the ball, but in regards to point total, why can't we have both? That's all. Why can't we have both is my point. All right, let's get to the poll question of the show. Are the Eagles better than the Lions? Oh, this is a phenomenal poll. 95% of you beautiful voters out there and you beautiful people are correct. You have the brain cells. Congratulations. Because 95% of you say yes. 5% say no. I respect the Lions. Not that this is a big picture talk, because we have plenty of time to do that. But I'm telling you, when you have the target on your back, and if the Lions and the Eagles meet with Detroit having the home field advantage, it's a lot of pressure as a franchise that are known to be losers, while the Eagles are consistently there and already have been there with that group. We're on the prowl. That's this goal. That's this goal right now for the regular season, is make it so the Lions panic. Make it so their heart is pounding as Dan Campbell is watching the Eagles play from his couch and just nodding his head, acknowledging, yeah, this is going to be a dogfight. And I'm sure he'll want to take his crew and say, meet me in the trenches, bite some kneecaps. But I'm telling you, Lane Johnson's a Hall of Famer. Jeff Stoutland doesn't make sense. This offensive line is a different version of wear and tear. And every team is starting to see and recognize, how do they do it?